Good morning, everybody. We'll be back in just a minute with the first show of the Women's Health Revolution. This is your host, Carla Sridevi Cohen, and I'm really excited that you're here this morning.
At work, I was constantly feeling anxious.
But I'm feeling much stronger and clearer about it all.
For me, one of the many aha moments was how to breathe.
Good morning, everybody. It's so exciting to have you here for the first show of the Women's Health Revolution. And I'm really excited about the guest I have on this morning. But let me just talk to you a little bit about, for those of you who don't know me, I want to talk to you a little bit about my background and my story, why we launched the Women's Health Revolution, where we're going with it, so what you can expect coming up in future episodes. So just to start, because this show, I'm just starting out and I'm new to doing television. We're going to have this every 2 weeks, so every other Monday. So the next show I think would be November 19th, again at 8 a.m. on E360 TV. You can also catch the reruns on womenshealthrevolutiontv.com. And so that's the start. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Carla Sridevi Cohen, and at one time in my life, I had worked my way up to a very coveted position in Hollywood as a development executive. I thought my life was totally dialed in. I was really loving what I was doing. I was putting together stories and scripts and meeting with talent to get things, shows, movies, and television launched. So what happened was the place that I worked in was pretty dysfunctional. There was drugs wafting down the hallway. That we had people that were ragers that were at the company, the owners, and it was a very difficult time. And when I got brought into the company, I was brought in by a friend, a man who became my friend, and they fired him and then promoted me to his position, but didn't give me the pay that he was getting. I actually was getting way less. They eventually bumped up my title, but until I threatened to leave, they didn't raise my income, my salary, and even then, it wasn't what a man was used to making. Now, at the time, I didn't realize that the problem was not me. It was really about this underground kind of um, thing in Hollywood, which was really about not having women paid the same as men were. It's part of the culture. So anyway, under pressure, trying to get myself, more visible, raise my income, raise my visibility, I put in a 70-hour work week, and I was under a fair amount of stress. So what happened was I didn't take any time off during the weekends. I was constantly, we would go to socialize. I would read scripts while my husband would talk to people and do the fun stuff. And basically, I started to lose my energy. And over time, it got to a point where my little cat naps turned into very long naps. And it was kind of like I had to quit, really. And I was at the point where I was going to quit, and they were also going to fire me, I think, because I just was I wasn't functioning very well. So when I went to the doctors, we found that I had a constant fever. I had an elevated white blood cell count. They had a really hard time um, figuring out what was, going on with me. And so they did every kind of test they could think of. and they were a little bit frustrated. They weren't sure if I picked up something in my travels or exactly what had happened to me. So finally, they just said, look, we can't do anything about your lack of energy. We're just going to send you home and you'll have to sleep. But we actually think that you are depressed. So we're going to give you these antidepressants to take, and hopefully this will make you feel better. So I thought I didn't feel depressed at the time, but I thought, okay, it's my doctor. He's at that time, I thought doctors were pretty much knew everything. And I took the medication, and I remember when it started to hit my system, I was in the bathroom and I was trying to fix my hair. In those days, I used to straighten it all the time. And I lifted my hands up over my head, and I literally had to collapse onto the toilet because I didn't have the strength to stand up. And I remember just feeling like helpless, hopeless. And then I felt depressed. I mean, I went from this powerhouse type A to weak as a kitten. And it was just amazing. And just having to walk from my bathroom to my bedroom, which in our little 800 square foot house, took me tremendous amount of focus and energy. And that's how weak I was. I spent my days laying on a chaise lounge underneath our Chinese elm. And I remember looking up at the leaves, and they would kind of, swim with the wind. And I would kind of go off into some sort of altered state, because I couldn't, being in the here and now was not a comfortable experience. So anyway, after that, I, I, I started to go into more alternative types healing and trying to find answers. And I went to every kind of wacko everything. I had them shoot me with injections of stuff. I don't even know what it was. And I went to acupuncturists, and I went to chiropractors. And, the introduction of actually some of the body work at that time was one of the things that helped me start to turn my health around, but also starting my transcendental meditation practice. And from there, there's a whole lot of stuff that happened, and I'm not going to go into that this morning. But basically, in the desire to heal myself, I ended up accumulating some 20 plus certifications in a number of healing modalities. So I have a background now in breath work and sports medicine and shamanic healing and all these things, nutrition. And I bring all that together as part of the women's health revolution to try to help people heal. So because this was such a devastating thing for me, my moment of realizing that the doctors didn't have the answers, my parents couldn't help me. Ultimately, the big lesson was I had to take personal responsibility for my health. And it was a combination of these elements that helped me. So I want to share those things with you. And not only that, I have some really cool friends that are amazingly talented, that have gifts also to bring to you to help you. And so my mission is to heal over 200,000 women over the next 2 years. And I hope that you are going to be part of that. So if you like what the message is and you like where we're going with this, I would love for you to share this show with your friends. Send them to my YouTube channel or send them to E365 TV. My vision, we're going to dive deep into consciousness that shapes your experience of the world. My vision is to teach, inspire you, and wake women up to new possibilities. I'm going to read a little bit here because I have so many notes about what I want to cover. We plan on keeping the show fun, positive, and spiritually uplifting. I know some of you are going to want to comment in Facebook, and I will tell you that right now I cannot see your comments. So, but please feel free to, give us a thumbs up, or actually let me know. I'd love to know what else you would like to see on the show. So let's talk Turkey. It's no secret that right now we are in a time of tremendous stress in our world. The state of the world is, it's not in the best place. And there's a lot of division going on. We have COVID happening. We have people being beheaded over in Paris over, religious ideas. I mean, it is to me, it's a very, very scary, disheartening time. And I am all about unity and bringing people together and healing. And so what I'm seeing, though, statistically is crazy. So looking at I was looking at the Mental Health Institute of America, and there's been a 634% jump in people looking for help with their anxiety right now. They're seeking tools for online help. There's an 873% increase in those seeking information about how to deal with depression. The average adult is on 5 medications a day, and 1 in 5 Americans, that's just in the United States, is suffering from some kind of mental disorder. So this is the kind of like boiler pot that we're in. And the thing is a lot of people don't know how to deal with the feelings that they're feeling, or what to do, because their job that they had gotten so used to for so many years has disappeared from underneath them. A lot of people are trying to pivot now, learn new skills, change their direction, but maybe they're entrepreneurs for the first time in their life. So what I'm going to be doing is bringing on lots of other female entrepreneurs that are just powerhouses to help you figure out what's the right path for you. And I encourage you to interact, because that's really what this is about. So I'm not a person who, I just want to say really quick, I'm not a person who believes in depending on medications. I actually don't use any medications and haven't used anything in over 30 years. Since my health crisis, the last actual prescription I took was that antidepressant. The rest of that bottle got tossed out. So I believe that with a good diet, with the right mindset, good body work, the proper tools, we can heal pretty much anything. Now, I'm not saying you should never go on a medication, because there are times when that's the only choice that makes sense. But the problem is most people depend too much on that, and they don't do the inner work. And so this is about moving from the inside out. We're going to raise your emotional intelligence, your awareness, your body-mind connection. And I'm going to have some people in speaking to you about all different kinds of topics, including money, how to present yourself, how do you manage your time? I mean, the lineup of guests is pretty exciting. So we're going to get more into that into the coming weeks. But from my experience as a healer now over 30 plus years, I know that pretty much everything in the body can be traced back to your body's memories in the tissue. We have emotional memories, and what happens is your body is like your biography. So what we want to do is be able to change from the inside out. We can change the tissue, and we can actually change the mindset. And that's a good thing for those of you who think, oh, I can't change, because change is possible. I mean, it's amazing, So let me introduce my guest this morning. She is a phenomenal person. She has been one of my coaches. She's helped me with some stuff. And I'm going to read you a bio about her, because I can't possibly articulate how wonderful she is and all the gifts that she has. So her name is Vivian Geffen. She's known as the Creativity Muse. Vivian has a powerful, intuitive, Socratic gift for catalyzing others to shift perspectives and soar to new heights of magnetic personal expression. She guides her clients to break free from self-imposed limitations and beliefs, catapulting them to more graceful personal expression and unleashing their inner creative beast. She seamlessly blends her improvisation-based story work and her background as a body worker to help her clients come out from their veil, so they release energetic and emotional blocks that are interfering with how they align and articulate their message. With a touch of Gestalt and a bit of humor, she catapults others into forward movement fearlessly. And she has a master's degree in creativity. She's an applied improvisation practitioner, and she's working on her first book, Creativity, the Non-Artist Way, How to Be the Creative Change Leader in Your Own Life. She teaches her creative core classes online, as well as classes for speaker presence and how to confidently speak about your business and make offers from the stage or the Zoom room. She's a native of Los Angeles who loves swimming in the ocean. And I want to tell you, one of the things that I really, really love about Vivian is she has an incredible sense of humor. And that's why I wanted her here on this first show, because we always have a good laugh. So please, I can't hear you applauding or anything, but please join me in welcoming my amazing friend and gifted friend, Vivian Geffen. So here we go. I'm going to can add her in here. And there we go. Vivian, good morning.
Hi, Carla.
Hi. So
Oh,
it's great to have you here this morning.
it's so great to be here. And it was so fun to come on after that bio. To be fair, she helped me put it together. So, but I haven't heard it out loud. And that woman, I like her.
And it's true. That's what's so cool. It's all true.
Well, my goodness, Carla, congratulations on your show. I mean, how far you've come in such a short period of time, right? From our class earlier this year, where it was hard to even just kind of say your name with presence, to you are hosting your own show.
Yeah, there's a few other people out there who know that to be true as well. I've had a number of people pushing me forward. And Vivian is, you really are a tremendous coach. I don't want to talk about you in the third party like you're not here. So I love that, the theme that you're going to bring to us today is the 5 pillars of confidence.
Confidence.
And you are so good at that. And you have this way of making people not take themselves too seriously, which can definitely be, everybody's downfall. So why don't you?
So true.
Where did that come from, that idea?
What, the 5 pillars? Or not taking yourself too seriously?
Both, I think.
Well, it came from a lot of hard knocks and my own process, because I lacked so much confidence for so much of my life. Yet had a feeling inside of there was a part that wanted to be seen, wanted to be heard, wanted to be in the mix, but just due to not supportive messaging in my younger years, or not knowing where I fit in. I just couldn't. So a lot of just, we teach what we learn, right? We have to overcome. So I really had to overcome that willingness or a belief that I had something to contribute, or that I could be visible, or that my voice had value. And in creating my classes, this is just, you have to have something, that you have to have a giveaway, you have to have your thing. So this is what I distilled down from all of my classes and all of my work. And I think it's a very dense and useful document, and you could spend time on any one of them and grow. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah. So let's talk about. So one of the things I think that it makes you have such a unique perspective is, I think this is also why I bonded with you. You can't hear me?
Well, I don't know if I'm not at home. I'm in Tucson, so I don't know if it's my connection or yours, but it's great, breaking up a little bit.
Okay. I'll try not.
Oh, now it's back. It's back.
I'll try not to move so much. I don't think
Okay,
I like it when I go Italian.
No, that's true. Yeah. You're right.
So, and also let's just move the mic up a little bit. So one of the things that I think that makes you so especially unique is that you come to even the word coach doesn't really capture who you are. You come to this way of working with people that brings in the bodywork background that you had. And it made you a very astute observer of how we're using our body and how we're connecting when we present ourselves. So can you talk a little bit about that before we dive into the
Yeah, well, I think with 20 plus years of body work, as you get, or at least I got, I was taught to listen with my hands, right? So we put our hands on a body and sink into it, right? Feel what's there and feel into it. And where's the tension? Where's the holding? Where's this? And you get to the spot, like, there's the spot, right? And there's the thing. So I can do that with my hands on the body, or just energetically still, at a distance, tracking. And so in that, when I'm holding space for a student or in class, doing that tracking, and am able to put words or ask questions about that spot that help a person come in, think about it and have a shift. So create a dialogue, because one of my gifts is communication, intuitive communication in the now. And being able to put that, when I have permission and am invited to, be able to put that focus on and draw out whatever the question or the energy is of that spot that they're moving around, or where the story is, so that to be able to start to unwind it. Whereas we used to unwind muscle with the hands, unwinding the energy of the pattern or the idea or the what's in that space in the body, and doing it in a playful way, in a safe container where one is allowed to move or verbalize or just sound, and it just opens up so that there can be a change of perception, of perspective, and energy. Yes. That, I mean, things we're malleable, like you talked about, holding in the tissue, memories in the tissue, but reality and our memories and everything, we can really change our relationship and our perspective to what we think happened, or what happened, or how we want to be, how we can respond. It can be dynamic if we believe that it can be. And there's so much healing. And like you said, change of what's possible, change of idea of what's possible, or how I'm going to be in this situation, or what this means, or what it doesn't mean, or who I am in it, or what different choice could I be. And that level of possibility and play can really take in a class, and an improv class, evolutionary improv class, this class I created. We play with your story from different perspectives, different ideas, different relations, have other people interpret your story. You get an objective view, something you can find humor in it all of a sudden. So like you said, it's like loosening the grips, a lot of ways of loosening the grips of what we think is so damn hard and fast and important and
struggling. So, I just want to say that one of the exercises that came out, we were just playing during when Vivian was coaching me, is, I put on a crown, right?
right.
And it helped me take myself just a little less seriously, it's, and all that stuff that we put in our heads, that's so not true, right? That gets in the way of us being our authentic self. And that's actually one of the gifts is,
but I want to interject. It wasn't to take yourself less seriously. It was also to empower yourself.
Well, yeah,
differently. Yeah.
True. Yeah. So it did. Sorry. Yes. For the viewer, true. It did both. You know what I mean? So, and I had fun with myself, as opposed to, letting myself go, shrink into the smaller me. And I want to thank you for that. And you're not the first person. I mean, I want to give a shout out. She's probably not watching this morning, but to Marilla Sula for that as well, because Marilla was all about getting me out there and really encouraging me to do more, speak more, and share my gifts. So Vivian, talk a little bit about one of your first pillars of confidence, which is know thyself. Let's start with that.
Yes, I printed out the document, so because I had it. Yeah, so well, to know yourself. So I wrote, notice yourself, reflect and take stock of your strengths and areas for improvement. So when people are struggling with confidence, oftentimes it's just, I'm not good enough anywhere. So is that really true, right? Where are you good enough? Like, part of being a confident person is knowing I actually have strengths. I actually have weaknesses. I actually have room for improvement. I actually have things nailed. So it's a realistic assessment, not an all or nothing thinking, right? So that's what that really is essentially saying, like, know yourself and acknowledge your strengths, acknowledge what you're good at, acknowledge where there's growth, acknowledge that maybe you're not doing X, Y, or Z because you don't have the experience, not because you don't lack the confidence. And it's just a way of opening up to how to dance in a way with reality, what would need to be improved. So asking yourself, for your trusted friends, what are you good at? What do you like about it? It's almost like an assessment at work, right? People get these assessments at work. I have to just no, I don't. I'm not going to digress. I'm getting distracted. I'm in my sister. My sister produces comedy shows, and these are all her posters
Yeah, so I forgot to mention that Vivian is actually beaming in this morning from Arizona,
from Tucson.
from Tucson, and she's normal. And I love Tucson. Oh wow, I didn't even realize that.
Uh,
I had so much. I have such great memories there. And she's normally based in Southern California
right.
in the Santa Monica area. For those of you who are curious, so thank you for that about the know thyself. Let's move on a little bit into, because we have a number of things here. Besides knowing what you're good at, what your strengths are, what are the things that you take for granted, and where do I improve? How do people do that self-assessment? You just if you can, I know this is a big long question, but we're just going to do a little bit of an answer. How do people switch out of that critical self person? What's a tip you can give for our viewers to switch out of the critical person into the person who's the not good enough and all of that? How do you get them to shut that off? Can you give them maybe one tip?
Well, I worked with this woman who's sadly deceased now, but she was brilliant, and she really is one of the first people that really helped me start to grow on my path of self-love. And her name was Mona Miller, and we used to do a game where we should go like take it to the absurd. So make it bigger. I mean, like if you really like, just play with the idea you're the worst and exaggerate it all. So, blow it up. Have fun with it. Blow it up, and then really see like, oh, is that true?
Right. Well,
and that starts to break the shame a little bit because you're not that, right? And then so I always like to add humor because my core values are creativity, collaboration, and fun. So if you can, with a friend, playfully just really get into it, exaggerate it, tell the story about why you're the worst in the most exaggerated way, and and then from there where you are now, you'll see it's not actually that bad. So maybe where you think you are, maybe you're really not even that bad.
right.
So you could just pull it back a little bit to like, okay, just give you a little more balanced view.
Yeah, so that actually, I mean, with one of the ways that I've done that to help somebody is I will have them do an affirmation that makes them look at it a little differently. For example, it's okay for me to pretend that I'm ugly, or I forgive myself for believing that I'm ugly, so that you can just look at it from a little bit more detached place. It's again just playing with the mind,
just playing with your perception of it, breaking just any way in that helps you put a sliver of question in the belief. So like, oh, just to look at it a little, well, what if I'm not the worst?
And that's one of the things I think is I kind of mentioned it in your intro, is your ability to ask questions and in a way that it's very Socratic, where people have a chance to think and reflect in a different way. You're not telling them how to think. You're asking questions that open the door for them to think about what's a different way for me to perceive this. And I think this is what a good coach does. Instead of telling you what to do, they open the door for you to think for yourself.
Yeah, because it's all an internal experience. So let's shift your internal experience.
Yeah, very powerful.
Let's really hold space for that and then think about it. And some people aren't ready. There are times it's just where there is an intractability. I'm thinking of a gal, who was just so attached to her anxiety. And so there is a level of really being willing or wanting to have a different experience. So if you're going to show up and ask to change or want to have a different experience, then do that. Allow it. But sometimes, we're not ready till we're ready, or we haven't had enough till we've had enough. And, like as a compassionate, healing person, right? It's hard to watch but sometimes people are brick walls.
Right, right. Well, it's true. I mean, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't.
But they're probably not watching this show.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's what I say. It's like the people who need to hear this are not listening. Okay, well, let's talk about.
None of y'all are brick walls out there.
Yeah, exactly. We need, it's like hammer and a chisel thing, and what I find is that.
But oh, sorry.
I was just going to say that what I find is for people, this is one of the keys to creating health, is being willing to open yourself up and do that really hard. Sometimes it's a hard look at yourself, just being in, and do it in a nice and loving way, hold yourself with love and compassion, but be willing to look at, okay, where are you in this situation, and are you taking, what's your part in this, what's your level of responsibility in this situation,
Yeah, oh my gosh. I'm just remembering myself when I started my journey, and I was that brick wall. I couldn't take a compliment to save my life. I thought I was so, so bad.
So how did you move from that to loving yourself more? What do you think? Again, you don't have time to go into all of it, but
time, a lot of work, a lot of healing. Mm-hmm. A lot of what you're talking about, self-investigation, play, putting myself with teachers who saw me differently, putting myself with groups with people in classes, like where I could feel different, being received just over time. And then I remember this one year being in this group. I was on some retreat. I mean, my 30s, like my workshop, my friends were getting married, like I was trying to heal, so I was like the workshop queen. I was doing everything. But I remember, like, when it finally turned around, I was at a retreat and we were in a circle and there was some feedback going on, and I was talking, and suddenly the question I realized I was anticipating a response or a reaction, and I was like, oh, I wish I can't remember the words exactly anymore, but what happened was I saw that the response that I was anticipating versus the response that I was getting were not the same, and that for a long time, it had been a long time since anyone had given me the response that I thought I was getting. And when I really realized that in the moment, I was like, oh, when was the last time someone talked to you like that? Or when was the last time someone really said that to you? I was like, oh, wow, it has been a long time. So actually, the reality is I'm getting this response more, and I'm getting what I want more as far as respect or being heard or participating. And my mind has not caught up with the reality. And in that moment, it did. And that really shifted things.
That's really
powerful. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and what I have a term for that. I call it I call it quantum mind shifting. So when you catapult from A to B, and you have an opportunity for your perception to catch up with your reality, instead of listening to the old program, and really doing a reality check on what's going on in your world, and now you're seeing, oh yeah, I'm on a different track. And that happens, when people start to raise their vibratory rate. They as they get rid of some of that garbage that's been holding them down and holding them in the muck and mire, and they start to rise up, it is that perception, that moment when you go, wow, that is not real anymore. That might have seemed real. Maybe it was, at a certain time in my life, maybe it was real.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's very liberating. It
so.
was very powerful.
Let's talk about taking charge, which is your third pillar. So far we've done know thyself, love thyself, and we're going to move on to take charge. And what I'm going to do is Vivian has gifted everybody who is interested in learning, seeing these in a printout. You can go to her link and you'll be able to download this so you can read this and go through this yourself. It's got some really good little tips in here. And I'm going to put up a little thing here so you can copy this down.
You can read along.
Yeah. So you can download it here. And unfortunately, you can't cut and paste. So you can either take a screenshot if you're near a computer, or you can take a photo and get that PDF.
bit.ly/5pillars PDF. bit.ly.
Yeah. So here we go. All right. So let's talk about taking charge, because I would say if somebody asked me, I would say this is probably one of the most important. I mean, they're all important, but this is, I think, a very key pillar. Let's talk about it.
Take charge. Okay. So when stuck in doubt about big ideas, start with something in your immediate control. This builds internal strength and confidence. So, and then I have action tips, 3 types of actions to choose from. Release, let something go, let an idea go. If you're struggling with food, maybe try letting the food go, or the thought go, or behavior. And any one of those can be very powerful and empowering, right? That alone shifts things. And then I have sift, sort, rearrange. And you could use your space, shift through your space, rearrange, sort, do something. So the point is that you're in action and you're creating new energy, and you're starting where you are, taking charge with something so that it is building internal power and control, and just letting whenever I can't find something, like I'm looking for my keys or this or that or the other thing, I'll start just cleaning a little bit, and inevitably I find the thing that I've lost. So it's that and not in that pile, but just coming across it. It's like, so it's that kind of same thing about taking control and knowing that you are able to make movement and shift energy and change an outcome in your life. And because, like you said, we're in a quantum reality, we just never know where the inroad, where we start, will lead, and all things are connected. So sift, sort, rearrange your space, or strengthen your mind, body, and spirit. So that is doing something up here or outside, lift some weights, do something in your control that makes you feel good and that puts you on a path. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit more. So,
okay.
When you talk about choosing to release food, thought, behavior, I know that a lot of people struggle with that piece right there. That's the biggest.
I know. I write it like it's a little line, but let's acknowledge that it's a tall order.
Yes.
And that's why this 5 pillars, I think I could do a whole program probably working on these with a group for a period of time and have massive change.
I support that vision. I think that's I'd love to see you do that. I actually think.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about. Yeah, that's a good idea. If anyone's interested, reach out to me.
Yeah. So see, this is why we have so many gifted people on the show, like Vivian. So because when entrepreneurs get together, for those of us who are used to being self-employed for a long time, we're constantly riffing. We're giving ideas, receiving ideas. We're creating partnerships and relationships where we actually help each other rise up. And this is what I love, especially in the last couple of years in particular. For me, it's been very rewarding because I really walked most of my entrepreneurial path as a solo artist.
Me too.
And as my community, I've grown, in friendships with you. There's other people that I'm going to be bringing onto the show who, and I'll just to be honest too, it's been an interesting growth experience for me because, maybe people that I would have been, I had an initial judgment about, okay, I have judgments, and then I see I get past that initial, and there's jewels, there, and they're jewels that I would like to have, I'd like to possess those jewels, right? So it's helped me grow as a person, and I love the idea of community where we are riffing off each other and really creating some really good partnerships that help us all catapult to the next level. And most of us are interested in grabbing other's hands and going for it, not competition, but really working in partnership. Go ahead, Vivian. I'm sorry I cut you off.
Oh, well, I just love, because what you're speaking to is really the fifth pillar, right? Move forward, find allies, cherish your inspiration, learn, take risks.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So let's talk.
We were talking about releasing, right? Did you want to?
Yeah, we kind of looking for. Well, now I'm looking at the time, but yeah, I'd like to know a little bit.
I have no idea what the time is.
Okay, we're good. We've got about 12 more minutes, so we can get through these.
That's a lot.
What would be? Yeah, we can cover a lot. What would be the key? Let's see. If you could give people a nugget today, one or two nuggets on how to release those things that are a challenge for them. What's your most, I don't know, just what would you give people today that you think are today that you feel like intuitively the audience really needs to hear?
Intuitively, I think the audience really needs to hear that it's okay to love yourself, and that all of this is really a way of honoring what's already there inside, and to sit with, hold yourself and breathe, and to be with what's in your heart and your heart. And then from there, inquiring, what is it that I really need to move forward? And it may look like one of these things. I've really been struggling with, let's take a popular one, gluten, wheat. And am I ready, today? So really, it's all window dressing for coming back to the self, to the heart, to the center. And that really in and of itself, just sitting and holding and breathing and putting your hands on your chest and feeling the breath and taking a moment to tune in and drowning out the noise and feeling the essential energy that is you and what makes you you and what is your unique frequency and vibration, and just taking a moment and loving that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And it's absolutely it's absolutely so true for so many different things, that if we took that time to drop into our bodies and into our hearts and really gave ourselves a chance to listen. Because here's one of the things that also propels me forward is with my work is so many people don't know how to really tune into themselves. They don't know how to listen to, what their body's saying to them, what their heart's desire is. Typically, I think most people are trained to go outside of themselves for the answers. And this is something I would like to support people with, finding that they can. There's a lot of material in themselves that they can access.
Right. It's like that being / doing paradox, right? And our society is so attached to doing. But that's also been the interesting thing about COVID, right? We've had to cut down on the doing, and there is more being. And I created, if you don't mind me saying, and put up on SoundCloud a meditation called Connect to Your Energetic Essence, I think it was. And it's about that, going and connecting to your frequency. And maybe I can put it on, I don't know, send you the link.
And if people, yeah, I mean,
It's not on this link. This is for the, but
Yeah,
it's
this
just
is
if
for
someone hears this and is like compelled by that. But anyway, so to get back, so from that space, maybe then you can, if you move from that space, you're never going to go wrong. Moving from your heart space out.
And even if you do make what you consider to be a wrong move, I will just say that there is no wrong, because if you choose to learn from the experience and you choose to see, it's, you know, it's kind of the glass half empty versus half full. You know, there's always a nugget, there's always a diamond in there. It's just sometimes it's you maybe you don't see the diamond until later. It took me years to figure out, what's the gift of me being in bed for 2 years, you know? I mean, that's a tough one, right?
Yeah.
So, but you know, there are people who've had cancer or who've been through incredible, devastating, you know, events, you know, earthquakes and whatever, you know, plane, all the things that people go through in life, right? Car crashes and the loss of a loved one. Even that, there's always something beautiful if you're willing to take a look and you know, and really look for it. So let's talk about um, speaking up, which we've got about 5 more minutes here. So that's one of your next pillars. Let's talk about how the practice of being heard and allowing your voice and ideas to go out into the world. What are some of the suggestions you have for that?
Well, some of the suggestions I had were like, find ways to put yourself as a leader, as someone who speaks up. So if you could volunteer to lead a meeting at work, well, you know where your level is, where your growing edge is. So if it's a level, maybe leading a meeting at work, taking an improv class, joining a Toastmaster, or today we have a zillion. I mean, you have an opportunity every day if you want to try going live on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, or not even live, filming yourself. But just allowing if you want to be heard, allowing yourself to be heard and to be seen. But and practicing and doing it with love and not expecting any sort of perfection. But that is in the context of this 5 pillars of confidence, of developing confidence. One way we express confidence, or people receive us as confident, is by having a voice with which we use, whether it's written, whether it's spoken, and taking up our space in the room or in the world.
So let's talk about that for a second, because one of the themes that you and I have spoken about, and I know a lot of people have this challenge, is the part about feeling invisible when they're in a group setting. You know, maybe not feeling important or dismissed. And it's a theme. It's the theme song for some people. So you have a saying. What's your saying?
Well, my saying is, your visibility is your responsibility.
Right.
And my prescription for that is if you feel invisible, do not exacerbate the problem by standing on the corner and being angry that other people are talking, but be somebody who sees the other person who's standing alone and go talk to them. Be the person who notices, who welcomes, who takes it upon themselves to create a bit of a welcoming environment. So being curious and being open and getting out of looking at me and looking outward. And by that, you are taking responsibility. If you're greeting someone, they're going to see you and you're going to be visible, you know, and so that's the essence of it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I wanted you to say. I was hoping you would say for our viewers today.
Your visibility is your responsibility. So say hi.
It's so true though. I mean, and what you're talking about too is there is a tendency right now amongst us. There is a kind of a energetic current running through the the social environment of a kind of a narcissism where people are really focused on it's all about me, it's all about my problem, my this, my perception, what I believe to be the right way, that kind of thing, a kind of a dogma around the narcissism. And one of the things that breaks that is people starting to learn how to look outside themselves and develop that, like see the person, as you said, welcome. How do you make yourself a host of any party, so to speak? How do you
There's some there, when I hear you say that, I just feel like there's so much fear out there with the cancel culture and the divisiveness and all of the larger context that we're in these days. And holding neutrality is so important.
And again, the people that probably need to hear that are probably not on this broadcast, but it doesn't hurt to put it out there. How do you,
right?
And what is, because I remember, the idea of what you do has a chain effect. There's a domino effect. So if you're dismissive or mean or rude to another person, they're going to pass that along, right?
And you're also can be misinterpreted. People who are afraid, when I was shy, people, you're aloof. She's so aloof. Like, oh,
Yeah.
what's your claim to fame? Like, I was just scared.
Right, right. Well,
I walked around with this, like, don't come near me, but I was afraid.
Yeah, it's judging without knowing what's in the container. And this is kind of what I was speaking to earlier, when we dismiss based on an initial impression sometimes. And sometimes that's information actually for us, like maybe that person should be dismissed.
Right. Sometimes it is a red flag.
Yeah. But there's also the other side of that, which is developing and cultivating curiosity, because really curiosity is so important as an entrepreneur, as a human being, because
as a creator.
And you know what, when we're curious about somebody else, and if we don't sound like we're the Spanish Inquisition, and finding out about what's going on in their life, that comes across as caring, which it is, right? And when you start to open that shell up, you actually start to create common ground where you do really, really literally connect. What are we going to say, Vivian?
I was just going to ask you if you've had the experience ever of like your initially disliking somebody and then them turning into like a very dear friend. Or
I haven't had that experience, but personally, I've had people where I judge them and then I moved to next level of friendship, but not like my bestie. But I will say I had that with somebody toward me. It was very interesting. And once we got to know each other, it was a very different experience. But she had some really interesting ideas about who I was that really were not true. They were not based on any any experience she'd had with me. And that's the other thing is like, okay, and I do want to say this about, we're talking about opening up and curiosity and neutrality, holding that space. Another thing, that the way that we can hold that container is to not talk about other people behind their back about what are spreading gossip and things like that. Because what happens is when you do that, you poison the mind of somebody else. So now you put oil into the water, or tar, or whatever you want to call it. And then whether, that person now cannot unsee that. They can't unmind that. So now they go around, and maybe it's a person they didn't have any judgments about before. Now suddenly they start to happen. So I just like to say this because it's a huge problem I see. And
preach.
Yeah.
Gossip.
Yeah.
It's just a no-no.
Yeah, it's just a no-no, and it doesn't support anything but creating more negative energy. So if you have somebody doing that around you, my suggestion is to try to shut it down. I actually had a friend, and who's still a friend, not had, but who would constantly do stuff like that. And the cost of that actually was that I ended up kind of just, creating some space between somebody that I had cared about. And the cost of that was that that person eventually died, and I never got to repair that relationship.
Mm.
So I really am on a, a thing about this. And the thing is if that person's going to talk about somebody else behind their back, what do you think they're doing behind yours? So, it's not that you can't share observations or experiences, but, it's how you say it and how you hold it. So anyway, okay. I kind of
Right. Yeah, it's right. I mean, it's so much stuff we're involved in is none of our business. It's like,
so, well, okay. So we've got about 3 minutes left. So, I want
let's play an improv game. No, this whole thing has been an improv game.
Again, I love having you here. I so love having you. Okay, you guys. So for those of you who didn't see it, I'm just going to run this again. This is Vivian's website, the creativitymuse.com, all one word. I want to, if you take a picture of that or whatever, write it down. I highly recommend. And if you want to do the replays on this show, you can go to womenshealthrevolutiontv.com, subscribe to the channel. Please share this. This is going to ultimately be on podcast as well. So I want you to spread the word, help us grow this audience for the Women's Health Revolution, so we really can heal 200,000 people over the next 2 years.
Because Carla, what she didn't say, she is a masterful healer. And, for the time being, you can still see her in person. Who knows how long that will last. But this woman has so many gifts up her sleeve and such great depth of heart and ability to help people shift. So she's humble, but extremely powerful and gifted. So don't miss the opportunity to make your own ad, Carla.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Yes, and you can go to the womenshealthrevolution.com and see some of the things that I do, some of the testimonials. It really doesn't cover. It gives you a little. It's like the surface of what I do. Thank you, Vivian, for that plug. So I want to we have like a couple of seconds to talk about moving forward. Let's get that guy in there, and we might run over. Go ahead.
Okay, you have permission to be imperfect and take action anyway, and that is like, be imperfect and take action anyway. Massive imperfect action, as there's another coach out there. That's what she always talks about. And what is your vision? Find allies, cherish your inspiration, learn, take risks, hold your head high, and move forward. Get help. There is so much help out there these days, right? With tech, with virtual assistants, with networking groups, with coaches. I mean, with access to people, there's no real excuse except one between your ears. And I think sometimes we really get tired, or I get tired of hearing mindset, but it's true. So after you know yourself and you love yourself and you take charge and you speak up, you've made a lot of movement. So keep going and allow change to take place and enjoy the journey, right? Because creativity is a process. Creating change in your life is a process. It's not the journey. It's not the destination. It's the journey. And it can be ziggy zaggy, and it can feel like we're treading water. And in those times when we feel like we're treading water, sometimes it's just waiting for the right information, the right inspiration. And it doesn't mean that things aren't happening. And it's so easy to get frustrated and make it a reason to be mad at ourselves. I'm not doing anything. I'm stuck. But things are happening behind the scenes. If you keep your vision, or you're keeping your talking, and you'll have a breakthrough eventually. You will move forward if you intend to move forward and believe in yourself.
Thank you, Vivian.
Stick your hand out.
Thank you.
Just like Carla Sridevi Cohen is moving forward. She has a television show now. Like, this is,
Yeah, who would have thought? And
in March, this wasn't happening. There was no way this was even a twinkle in her eye. But man, you are walking your talk, my friend. It is so good.
Thank you. And I'm really excited too, by the way. We have another book coming out in, I guess, this month. So keep an eye out for that. I'll have some more information on my Facebook page.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It has been an honor, a privilege to have Vivian here on the show today. Thank you so much, my dear friend.
Thank you, Miss Carla.
And, you'll be able to, again, watch for more information about this. We'll see you back in the show November 19th at this ungodly hour of 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm not a morning person, you guys, so this is another change in my behavior. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to close it out with a reel here, and you all have a great day. Remember,
adios from Tucson.
remember to vibe up. That's what we want to do. Okay.
Let's have our closing vibe.
At work, I was constantly feeling anxious.
But I'm feeling much stronger and clearer about it all.
For me, one of the many aha moments was how to breathe.